Top Tips Tuesday.
So this is our street and everyone's inside but the sun is shining and you won't be able to see it, but you know there are houses with rainbows painted in the windows and chalk on the floor in pictures of rainbows on people's driveways and thank yous on people's bins. These are our neighbours. And for those of you who are old enough, you might remember an old soap opera on the TV called Neighbours, and one of the parts of the theme tune was everybody needs good neighbours, and in our street we've got great neighbours. We've got a street WhatsApp group, we're all looking out for each other at this time. You know, Jesus said the most important things are to love God with all our heart and also to love others, loving our neighbours. So what does that look like right now for us? And at a very basic level, just washing our hands, self-isolating, staying at home, being 2 metres apart when we're out on essential errands, that is loving our neighbours. Those social distancing measures are about protecting the NHS, but fundamentally about loving and looking out for other people. So even though we're hunkering down in our homes, just by doing those things, we are loving our neighbours by the daily choices we make. And so my top tip for today is, how do we do that? How do we love our neighbours at the moment when we're stuck inside, when we feel like we're stuck inside, but actually we're being safe inside? And I want to say that we do that by being present. And that might seem like a bit of an odd thing to say. You know, how can we be present when we're physically absent from each other at the moment? But it's about being present and in the moment with people when we interact with them. And if you look at Jesus, he was always present with people, always present with those around him. There are countless times in the Bible where Jesus was on his way somewhere and on his way doing something, but he wasn't so preoccupied that he didn't see what was going on around him. And on his way, people just catch his attention, and then he has this moment with them which somehow changes them. He gives people his time and attention. And if we're people who follow Jesus, we're called to do the same. He is our model, and we become present when we connect with people. And at the moment, you know, lots of us are finding different ways of doing this, WhatsApp groups for this, and different kind of other social media platforms that we're kind of communicating with people on, email, good old-fashioned phone call. I am learning things that I've never even known about about technology, and my brain is hurting, but I know that it's vital during this time. You know, we are designed to connect with each other. It's in our DNA, and that's why social distancing is so difficult for us, even for the introverts among us. Some of you have used the Hello Connect cards with your neighbours or done something similar in your streets. And again, if you'd like some, please do get in touch with us and we'll get some out to you. And all of these things are a really good starting point, but they're only a starting point, because what we all want deep down is connection, to be noticed, to be heard, to be understood, to be valued, to be known, and to be loved. And we do this by giving people our attention and our hearts, by being present. So if you can, grab a bit of time this week, have a look at some of Jesus's interactions with people in the Bible. Even if you've never dipped into the Bible before, here's a good time to take a look. Just pick one of the 4 books at the start of the New Testament. They're called Matthew, Mark, Luke or John, and check them out. A teacher and an author called Carl Madeira studied Jesus's conversations with people as they've been recorded in the Bible, and he found that on average the conversations lasted 42 seconds. That's not very long, but the impact that Jesus had on people was immeasurable. Brief encounters that radically changed the direction of people's lives and brought astonishing healing and hope. Lots of you will know that I'm a teacher by trade. If you recall your own school days, you'll know that every day the teacher took the register to see who was present. And when you said, "Yes, miss," you were saying, "I'm here." That's what being present is, being here in this shared moment of time and space with this person. And so there's some really practical ways that we can practice being present, and they're not rocket science at all. Firstly, just look, say hello, notice people. You know, notice the frazzled cashier at the checkout, the exhausted member of staff who's stocking up the shelves, the homeless guy who's sitting outside the shop. Be present in the moment. Notice the unseen and be interruptible. At a distance, but be interruptible. Notice what is going on around you and who is around you. And whilst you're looking in the physical, look in the spiritual. Jesus said he only did what he saw the Father doing. So in every interaction, what do you see? And have this inner conversation with God. Ask him, what are you doing at the moment, God? What are you doing with the people around me? And at the same time, listen. And I mean really listen, not just look like you're listening. Give people your attention. Remember people's names. Remember what someone's told you before about a member of their family or something that's worrying them, and come back to that again in a later conversation. Not like a robotic kind of formula, but showing that you value and care and that there's connection between you both. You know, ask a deeper question. Ask another question that just takes the conversation a little bit deeper. You know, we like to use that phrase in church called being naturally supernatural. So at the same time that we're listening to God, and we're saying, what are you saying? What are you doing at the moment? And when he speaks to you, go with his promptings so that you do what you see the Father doing. And then when this is over, you know, we just need to build on the connections that we're making during this time. Lots of people will be experiencing loss at lots of different levels through this situation that we're in, and we need to build on that and have conversations that show that we care and do life with people and connect with people. So loving our neighbours is about being present. And just finally, quickly before we go, you know, as well as looking and listening, it's about giving. This past week or so, we've heard about Captain Tom Moore, the 99-year-old who wanted to walk 100 stretches of his garden before he turned 100. And he has been generous with what he has. And at the last reckoning, I think he was up to about £23 million that has been raised for the NHS. Being generous is another way that we can be present. You know, getting in supplies for our neighbours, shopping, getting medicine for people, other acts of kindness, baking cakes, leaving gifts or sending cards. I know that someone in our church the other day had a takeaway delivered to them, and because of the social distancing measures at the moment, the staff who are delivering can't accept tips. So this family posted a £5 made a paper aeroplane and shot the aeroplane out to the person. That's just lovely, don't you think? A really lovely way of just blessing someone else when they may be in need. The early church in Acts 2 was marked by its generosity to others. It said they had everything in common. They sold their possessions and they gave to those who were in need. So they were present to the need around them. And as this thing goes on, and when it's finally over, you know, the emotional and financial impact on people will be huge. And as a church, we will be called on to be more and more generous. I'm excited by that. I'm excited by the opportunities that it will give, that we can express our love for people and God's love for people by being generous. So be present. That's how we love our neighbours at this time.